I want to give a huge thanks to PTCGO Store for sponsoring the channel. PTCGO Store is a great site where you can get online Pokemon trading card game codes for some of the best prices. Now able to order Sword and Shield Rebel Clash codes. Be sure to use code CHIP5 at checkout in order to get 5% off your order, or click the link in my description down below. Once again, that is code CHIP5 to get yourself 5% off your order. Thanks, PTCGO Store. What is going on, guys? Chip here. Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Online video. Now, you may be wondering why I didn't upload any videos this weekend, and that is because I was actually playing in the Limitless Qualifier Tournament. It's their third qualifier, the first one with Rebel Clash Legal. It's a 20-round tournament that then cuts to top 8, and you have to go 9-4 on the first day to make it to the second day. And I was able to make day 2 with a Galarian Obstagoon deck. My friend Grant Manley and myself both played the same 60. We both finished day 1 at 9-4. Yep, 9-4. Made it into day 2. Really excited. And then, unfortunately, things didn't go the best for me in day 2. They didn't go the best for Grant either. I finished at 13-7, and Grant, I believe, finished at 14-6. So one win better than me. But this is the deck that we played. It's definitely, I think, one of the more roguish decks that was in day 2. I know Obstagoon has been a known deck, but not something that I think people were talking about at all leading up to the tournament. There are definitely some other really cool decks that have come out of the tournament that I'm going to be looking at this week, so stay tuned for that. But to get everything out of the way, I wanted to just go ahead and cover the deck that I played this past weekend and show off how the deck works and show you guys the list. So we just played a really consistent Obstagoon list that can take advantage of the fact that so much of the format is revolving around basic attackers, because Obstruct, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. So Pikachu and Zekrom, Heatran, GX, Blacephalon from Unbroken Bonds, you name it. If it's a basic, it cannot do damage to Obstagoon. There are definitely some things to consider, things that play like Lightning Energy into Den-GX or Aurora Energy into Den-GX that can paralyze you still. Raichu and Raichu in the Pikarom decks can paralyze you still. So those are things that you have to consider, but other than that, besides those tricks, things feel pretty good. Now, there are a few VMAX decks, obviously, in the format, and the biggest one that I got questions about all weekend was, Chip, why did you play this deck if Dragapult is so big? Everyone seems to think that Dragapult is a terrible matchup for Obstagoon, and that's just really not the case. Dragapult really can't do anything if on turn 1 you just bench a Sableye V and attach an energy to it. Now, some Dragapult lists out there were playing 4 Crushing Hammers. I will say that those versions of the deck are probably much harder to deal with. I did lose to one. Crushing Hammer was definitely no bueno, not fun for me. And I did lose to one Dragapult, but I don't think the matchup is terrible at all, like a lot of people say. You can pick up one knockout on something like a Jirachi with some Untamed Shouts and some Headbutt Tantrums, and then knock out a V with Sableye V, or a VMAX with Sableye V, and then either a V or a VMAX with Yveltal-GX using Doom Count. And this is really why, I think just any VMAX deck in general isn't necessarily the worst matchup. You can definitely beat decks that have evolution Pokemon in them. I did lose to a Luxray deck. Can't really beat that. Something that is just literally an evolution deck that can hit that hard, that has a lot of HP. But yeah, so this deck really just aimed to take advantage of the format. The card behind my face cam is the Tululus Pokédoll. If you ever can't figure out what the card is behind my face camera if I don't mention it, the lists are always in the description of my video, guys. So definitely check down there if you're curious, if you're missing a card when you're trying to recreate the list. And you can also just copy and paste it straight into PTCGO. But yeah, other than that, we've got the one Mew, we've got, the 4 Rosa. Rosa's probably the best card in the deck, honestly. Because if something gets knocked out, Rosa basically means you get to make an Obstagoon the next turn. 2 counter gain, because the card is so important. If you prize it, it's really, really tough for you. And other than that, I think everything should seem pretty straightforward. Scoop Up Net, I guess, something worth mentioning. A really big addition. It makes it really easy to get that lone Obstagoon. So you can pick up all of the pieces in play potentially, so that if it's a matchup where just having one Obstagoon wins you the game, you can just pick up those pieces and boom, there you go. You've got your lone goon, you win. So that's the deck. like I said, I made it into day 2. My buddy Grant Manley also made it into day 2. I really think this was a solid deck choice for the tournament. I think that, you know, there's so much basic decks in the format, so I think it's really well positioned still. I would still consider it a solid play currently. Solid tier 2 deck for sure. And yeah, enjoy the games. Thank you guys for watching. Alrighty, going up against Chavok 1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1. Let's see if we get a workable opening hand. We will go ahead and choose to go first. His types kind of looked like it could have been Firebox, and I think you kind of want to go second against Firebox because it's so easy for them to get a knockout turn 1. And sometimes you'll open up a hand like this, and you're like, I really hope I Stellar Wish into a Quick Ball or a Communication, or I might lose. But also, at the same time, it slows them down dramatically. Trying to say 2 words at once, because it means that they cannot play a Welder. But it looks like we are actually up against Pikarom, as our opponent has started a Tapu Koko Prism Star. Right away, I am eyeing up just getting this Rare Candy because right away we've got a turn 2 Obstagoon in our hands. So we can go ahead and get that Lone Goon potentially. Our opponent, of course, can still paralyze Obstagoon with Raichu and Raichu because Obstruct does not prevent effects, only damage. So for those situations, we want to make sure we have a switch around into like a Pokédoll or a Pokemon we can pick up with the Scoop Up Net. But our opponent actually playing Jirachi. This is a card that has been really kind of cut from most Pikachu Zekrom lists, it seems. But they're having a pretty solid start. They do get an Escape Board down and a Research, so if they can switch... Oh, never mind. It is not Pikarom. Reshiram and Zekrom. Okay. Got it. Not Pikarom, Reshiram, and Zekrom GX. Okay, so they do have Naganadels, which is something that can hit Obstagoon, but luckily it only does 80 damage, so it is still 2-hit KOing us, whereas once we stack up some damage on some Poiples, we can actually 1-hit KO them, theoretically. But we can actually get a knockout on their Jirachi, which would be pretty good here, honestly. I'm going to start with the Stellar Wish. I don't really want to discard any of the cards in my hand with Quick Ball, honestly. Like, literally none of these cards are discardable. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab the Lillie's Pokédoll and throw that down so that we have something to potentially send up if need be. Could have gotten the Cynthia, but I really don't even want to play Cynthia. I'm going to go ahead and just put the damage there because it doesn't really matter on Reshiram Zekrom. I guess this matters even less because it can just get discarded. But if we actually did top deck like our one of Boss's Orders next turn before they use this, we could knock it out. And also if they send it up here because they don't have any good Pokemon, they don't get a way to move it, we can knock it out. But they do go ahead and send up Reshiram and Zekrom. All they do need is a Fire Energy in order to start attacking. They've discarded a Fire Energy and don't have any Poiples in play, and Tapu Koko Prism Star does not accelerate fires, only accelerates lightnings. There's a Welder. And a Vitality Band. Let me make sure Cross Break does not hit through any effects. They can send us to the bench and then Cross Break the benched Obstagoon. Okay, so that's something to consider as a play that they can make happen. But there's a Poiple right away. And now, I mean, obviously, I think if we top deck Boss's Orders, we're chasing Poiple. We don't care about Koko Prism very much. This is the thing that can hit Obstagoon. So, I mean, I'm sure we're just going to see a pass here. Luckily, he only weldered 1 energy, so we shouldn't be scared of him getting Boss's Orders plus Cross Break. At least not yet. And we could just get Lone Obstagoon here. I think having this down is actually okay, though. We might want to go into it at some point. We're just going to go ahead and Obstruct. And this is really kind of what Obstagoon is. It's like getting Obstagoon out early, Or, like, it's really easy to get out if your opponent ever knocks something out, because you just go Rosa and get Rare Candy or counter gain whichever piece you need, and the energy. Like, it's pretty straightforward, and go from there. Okay, but they're going to pass. Let's see. I do really want to get some damage down on this. We want to get 40 on it so that we can knock it out with an obstruct. So they, effectively, it's like they are 2-hit KOing us, we are 1-hit KOing them. So it's a really favorable trade for us. So I'm going to go ahead and just ditch the Pokédoll. Actually, probably not going to be super relevant. Keep Yveltal around because Yveltal is a cool guy. I'm actually going to go ahead and Cynthia as well, so we can try to get into some more pieces for the next turn. There's a Rare Candy, and there is an Obstagoon. So we do get another Obstruct off. Of course, this is susceptible to being brought up with a Boss's Orders. Potentially. But that's okay. Because if they do that and knock us out with this, that means that they are getting knocked out here. But it looks like they are going to go on the offensive here with just the Turning Point hitting us for 80. And also Dedenne drawing themselves a fresh new hand. And they will hit us, but we will take the first prize. And they don't have another Poipole set up, so it's going to be a couple turns before they can really get much going. As long as they don't hit us like with a reset stamp or something like that random. Or Marnie, I guess. They haven't played a supporter yet. Ooh, they do play an Ends Resolve. Okay. Definitely the type of thing that is worth noting. So go ahead and Rare Candy Obstagoon. I would like to go ahead and get an energy down to attach. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and Cynthia. We will get this knockout here. We do get the energy. I will hold on to the Zigzagoon because if he benches a Poipole, we want to try to start sniping that down so that this exact same thing can happen where the only evolution in their deck has enough damage on it for us to just respond, knock them out. And from here, it looks a little tough for our opponent. Not going to lie, they could hit us with the Tingly Return. We do have the Switch Pokédoll or Switch Jirachi if we so choose to use it. They, of course, could utilize Boss's Orders. Always something to consider. And here comes the Dance of the Ancients from Tapu Koko Prism Star. There is a Mew. Okay. Not too worried about that. We don't really have any sniping attacks. And here comes the Volkner. Getting a Quick Ball, getting a Lightning. I feel like this is probably looking to eye up another Poipole, if I had to guess. And sure enough, there's a Poipole. So we could dig for the Boss's Orders with Jirachi, but it's a 34-card deck. It's like such an unlikely dig. And they also don't even get another... I mean, I guess the other energy doesn't even matter, but... We actually top deck Rare Candy too, which is pretty good. It means that we can get this guy ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and throw this down in case we get Marnie or anything like that. And we'll just go ahead and hit him with an Obstruct. Pretty straightforward and simple. If this does get knocked out by a Naganadel, which it could, we can send up Jirachi here and look for a Rosa or a supporter to get us an energy so that we can attack with this Goon. There's a Volkner. And does this get a switch? Energy switch. Energy switch, and they have a switch in hand. We'll see it. Nope, they've got nothing. Okay, so we could go switch Stellar Wish. I'm going to go ahead and Rare Candy Goon. Got it in hand. This is the damage that's really important because now it has 90, same as the last one, and we're going to go ahead and Obstruct. Like I said, Switch Stellar Witch is an option, but really not necessary. Have we used, yep, 3 Rare Candies this game. There is an energy. I wonder if we should put our Mew down. Try to look for our Mew, maybe. Maybe that could be useful. for the cross break potential. This does have 2 energies on it, but I mean, we're in a position here where like knocking this out and then knocking out either one of these, which we're about to do right here, does just get us game, basically. We could hold off on playing the Cynthia in case of a stamp or a... I guess we don't really care about holding off on it in case of a Marnie, but in case of a stamp. And there's Consumed. I guess I was thinking a little too long for their like, but that felt like pretty good. Pretty good example of, you know, even with some decks that have like 1 or 2 like random evolutions, like supporting evolutions in their deck, you can still beat them. It's not just about taking down just basic Pokemon, and worked out really well for us in that game. Let's Drew. This is our opponent here. So we'll see what they've got going for us. And if it's something that Obstagoon is able to deal with. They are going to go ahead and choose to go first. Looks like they actually have the World's Competitor sleeves, not just the ones that came in the World's deck, but the Competitor sleeves for a player who played at the 2014 World Championships. So, see if we can get an idea of what they've got going on. It is just going to be a Jirachi start. Doesn't tell us much about their deck because lots of decks play Jirachi. Pokegear 3.0, not a card you see that much anymore. Usually just in Firebox, which, seeing the welder there, it's a red flag. Could be Firebox. And let's see what this Quick Ball goes to get, and if that gives us a bit of an idea of what we are going up against. No, they're going to ditch a Pokegear, get another Jirachi Escape Board. Just want to get another Stellar Wish off here. Must have a pretty good hand if they're content doing that this turn. And didn't like Quick Ball forward to Dene or something, and it's another Quick Ball. Okay, maybe playing this one will give us an idea of kind of what they're playing. The only thing I can think of that plays Jirachis and Pokegears right now is Firebox, but it also could just be some random Fire or whatever deck. Just something like this person's trying out. Quick Ball is going to ditch a Research. So something with Research and Welder. Cinderace. Okay. So this can be tough. Going up against Evolutions, of course. But VMAX is not the worst thing because you can knock one out with Obstagoon, knock another one out with Sableye, which is the ideal setup there. Okay. So I want to... I think I just want to go get Sableye and attach to it, like, as quickly as possible. Get that thing ready to go. We've got 4 Zigzagoons, and we do have all 4 in the deck. We did prize Linoone and an Obstagoon, which isn't the best, but workable. And we prized a... Nope, we got a Scoop Up Net in hand. Okay. We'll just go get Sableye, get the attachment, and go with a Stellar Wish. Might as well do this. We don't see anything we want there. Yeah. Since we're going to Research here, we're going to go ahead and Scoop Up Net, bench this, switch, and then Research. And then we get to look again. Now we get an additional Stellar Wish. And if we had found something like a Quick Ball there, that would have been perfect. Lets us get something down. But we did not, so we are here. Now we have a Quick Ball. We can go get rid of Mew, which I'm actually fine with. I shouldn't need it in this matchup. I guess they could play Cramorant, which actually could be problematic. I should have considered this a little bit. And we will go ahead and Stellar Wish. Getting ourselves a Rosa. Because we do have a Rare Candy Obstagoon in hand. If Jirachi does just get knocked out here, that should give us plenty of options. And we have Yveltal-GX in hand already. So we could definitely get a knockout on a Cinderace VMAX this coming turn. And we know they have a Welder in their hand. There is the Cinderace VMAX. Right away. Peep the Stellar Wish is going to be Giant Hearth. One of the things about our list is we do not have any way to get rid of stadiums. So that's in play. That's going to be here to stay. We'll deal with that as we can. Here comes the Welder. It's 320 HP. Let me see. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 25. So with 4 damage counters, we do 250. That's not enough. 5 damage counters, 25, 24, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 300. So we need 5 damage counters on this to knock it out with Sableye, or just 4 to knock it out with Yveltal. But they've gotten the energies down. They're good to go. Oh, the Big Charm. I don't think that helps their math. Not for Sableye, at least. Or not for Yveltal, obviously. Okay, so let's think. 350 HP, so 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 1. And then there's 5 on it already. So we can knock it out with Sableye, Rare Candy, Zigzagoon. Yeah. So we'll get the knockout here with Sableye, put a lot of pressure on them. They don't have an attacker lined up, and Cinderace V does not knock out this guy. So we'll go Rosa, get the Zigzagoon, get the energy, and we will go ahead and get ourselves, I guess, just a Rare Candy. For the next turn, we could Scoop Up Net with the one in hand. Yeah. We've got basically everything else we could want. So we will go ahead and do this. Rare Candy. Put it here. We, of course, could have knocked out with Yveltal, but it's way easier to get a knockout with Yveltal later. And if I've done my math right, we should do 310 damage here, which is enough to knock out Cinderace VMAX. There we go. 310. Big Charm. No big deal. That's a KO. And our opponent left with no attacker in play and nothing that can immediately knock out Sableye. So, from here, we'll see where things go. We are susceptible to a reset stamp still. We don't have a Jirachi down. They did get down Ninetales. We do have a Boss's Orders, which could be useful for that. There's an Escape Board. Getting the 1 Boss's Orders out of the prize is definitely nice. Yeah, and we'll see where we move from here. Yep, just another Stellar Wish it looks like. And a fail. Not looking great. They're going to go ahead and research. I wonder what they were looking for before research. They had a Welder in hand. I think they were looking for an out to Cinderace V. They were not able to get it because they already had the Welder in hand. And so, our opponent just goes ahead and scoops things up. The Goons, I mean, they had an evolution. They had Ninetales. Those are bad things for us. We were still able to make it happen. Obviously, our opponent did miss the Welder there, but I think turn 2 went about as good for them as it could have. And we were able to sweep through with Sableye. Sableye proving that it is very strong. Very, very good. Going up against Chakra, playing Lightning, Fire, Dark, and Grass. At least as the types we saw in the preview. Could definitely have more. Not the best hand, but at least this wasn't our only basic. We do have Jirachi as a starter. Alrighty. Absol does slow us down a bit. We do only have the 1 Escape Board, so it doesn't matter that much. We mostly rely on Switch and Scoop Up Net. And it is going to be some Welder deck. So, ooh, getting a Stadium Nav out. Probably Baby Blounds then. I think that's about the only Welder deck that plays Stadium Nav. Are just going to grab 2 Fires. Quick Ball. For a Baby Blound, I would assume. Yeah. Alright, so as long as we set up, I do feel pretty good about this matchup. This hand's a little awkward because we can bench a Zigzagoon, but it will just get sniped by a Cramorant, potentially, which is what I'm worried about. So I'm going to start actually going Quick Ball away the Yveltal. It's not super useful. It is an out off the Pokécom if we were to find one, but we can put back Linoone, worst case scenario. I kind of just want to find 2, and we do find a Pokécom. So I kind of, like I said, just want to find 2 Zigzagoons. So even if one gets sniped, we are A-okay. And I mean, as of now, it looks like we're chilling with a turn 2 Obstagoon, assuming our opponent gets a knockout. And we'll pass it over to our opponent. I'm going to throw the Pokédoll down just in case. It doesn't really matter because likely it's a deck that doesn't play any disruption, but not something I would want to draw off of a Stamper and Marnie necessarily. I mean, obviously we can't draw it off of Marnie, but not something I'd want to draw off a Stamp, and I don't know, just throwing it down, I guess. I don't know. And, yeah. So they're going to go ahead and ditch the Lucky Egg, getting 2 fires. And there is that Welder. Only needing 1 fire energy to be discarded to knock out Jirachi. And if they do that, we actually just have Lone Obstagoon in hand. We do have to consider Bursting Burn on Blacephalon-GX, but as long as we can play around that and keep that in mind, we are just fine, A-okay. And since they did Welder to this, we know we're not getting sniped with a Cramorant. Just 2 energies coming back, and yep, there's the Fireball Circus. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this guy back into the deck. Though generally we can actually pretty freely set up multiple Obstagoons because they don't usually have Snipe, they just have, or they don't usually have Gust, they just have Snipe, sorry. So we'll go ahead and get Obstagoon, Rare Candy, and Energy. And we've got that counter gain in hand, so getting that 1 piece is perfect. And we will get the knockout here on the Blacephalon. And I'll go ahead and Scoop Up Net this. So we get that Lone Goon. Like I said, their only out at this point is to hit us with the Bursting Burn. And that's a pretty nice prize to draw. We do have an energy to put on this guy, since counter gain is now shut off, so that's a pretty important piece. We did already have that, so that's really good. And, I mean, Baby Blounds being popular and being good is one of the reasons we really wanted to play this deck. Ooh, they do play this. Fiona is a big deal in the matchup, but thankfully for us, we've got the Lone Goon. So, but that's something to note. It could get Ordinary Rotted back at any time, potentially. And there is the Blacephalon-GX right away. Alright. So, there's an Ordinary Rod. And yeah, Bursting Burn time. We could just go for the flip, but I wouldn't recommend it generally. And we'll just go ahead and throw this down. Get Zigzagoon down. We'll go ahead and just... I don't think it really matters where it goes on any of these. I'll just ping the Jirachi. It's got the lowest HP. We'll go ahead and Cynthia. And we don't get much, but we do have Rosa for next turn. So if we fail... Let me check if the other counter gain is in the deck. It is. Okay. So even if we do flip tails, we're okay. So I'm going to go for it. We do flip heads. Sometimes just going for it is okay. And it worked out, obviously, for us there. I would really like to get down Mew. Yep, there's Cramorant. So I wonder what they'll snipe here. Zigzagoon or Jirachi? We are already burned and confused, obviously. They just put back Fiona too, didn't they? Yep. And the Blacephalon. Eldegoss gonna get back that Welder. So it looks like they're setting up for the Spit Shot. Blacephalon coming to the field. I guess I could have just gotten Mew instead of this other Zigzagoon. That probably would have been a lot better, right? Oh, I need to make sure I remember the Absol. I literally was going to send this up, and we can't. Potentially, depending on what they snipe. Or what they do. But yeah, they need just one energy. Then they get to snipe something, like I said. Sometimes, I mean, I know at the beginning of this format, at least people were debating or like talking about at least playing a Boss's Orders, one of Boss's Orders in this deck. So I guess Mew wouldn't necessarily totally be safe or anything we're setting up on the bench, but something to consider. Okay, they will just knock out the Zigzagoon. That's okay. What did he ever do to you? Do heal the burn, thankfully. Took us a couple turns. But we have access to Rosa. So what I'm going to do here is just go Rosa for this. This, and a energy. We might be flipping again here. Quick away escape board. Yeah, this is fine though. Yeah. A-okay with this, even if we flip the tails. Would be pretty nice to flip a heads. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We also could have hard retreated this into the Jirachi, assuming these things are going to be safe because our opponent doesn't have Boss's Orders almost certainly in their list, and even if they do, they can't Welder plus Boss's Orders. So we could have done that. Cramorant is going to do literally nothing here. I hope our opponent sees this Mew. And if they try to Spit Shot, they are probably going to concede after this does no damage. I've seen people make this mistake one too many times. Maybe they realized and were like, okay, I'll just hit that. Alright, so what we're going to do here, this here. And I'm going to go with the Boss's Orders Hard Retreat. Yeah. This is the main thing we have to worry about. They have already used their Ordinary Rod as well. So once we deal with this, I think this should be A-okay. And like I said, even if they play Boss's Orders, as of now, they cannot use Boss's Orders and attack anything in the same turn. So that is what we're looking at. There's the Ordinary Rod down. I guess they could play a second one. And, I mean, this could theoretically get stuck for a turn, I guess. Let's see what they get here with the Quick Ball. Oh, that's right. They've got Fione. They do have Fione. Fione. That is something to consider. But they're going to go ahead and just scoop it up. Yeah. That is not something I was thinking about right there in that moment until he played the Quick Ball. But I think we just send up Jirachi there. Obviously, they're not dealing with Obstagoon. We can Stellar Wish, or we can Cynthia plus Stellar Wish, look for a switch card, and we should be A-okay still. So, yeah. Pretty good. There you go. Obstagoon taking down Baby Blounce. And that is going to do it for Obstagoon. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like on this video. It helps me out a ton. Lets me know that you are enjoying the content. Also, feel free to click that subscribe button. We've gained a ton of new subscribers the past couple of weeks, so I really appreciate the support there. Seeing that subscriber count goes up means the world to me, and I just appreciate that support from you guys. And all it takes is one little click. Super fast, super easy. And yeah, thank you so much for the support. Thanks for watching. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Until next time, take care.